the sole driver of Mr. Modi's entire approach to public affairs is how do I ensure I remain Prime Minister forever.
Can this be viewed as a mere temporary anti-incumbency, or should we consider that the Indian politics is undergoing a deep structural transformation?
So these are all obstacles. But the opposition has to find a way out beyond this. Of course, one big challenge for the Congress is going to be, as we go towards 2029, what to do in Tamil Nadu. This was genuinely new stuff coming from the Congress, which we have to credit Rahul Gandhi for, no doubt. You take an oath to defend, to uphold people's right to religion, to practice the religion they want without fear or favor. You uphold the constitutional guarantee that there should be no discrimination. And yet you have a government today in power that openly discriminates.
Sir, as a senior journalist who have tremendous experiences, how do you feel the present political and communal scenario in India? Is there anything make you uncomfortable while thinking about the present situation?
No, we are going through a very difficult situation right now for the country. I would say, from the point of view of the state of democracy, from the point of view of the state of human rights of people, minority rights, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and of course, media freedom. There is virtually no front where rights that people took for granted over the last 70-75 years are not coming under sustained attack. And we often speak of this period as a kind of undeclared emergency, which the BJP tends to say is a gross exaggeration. It's not true. But the reality is this, that whatever Indira Gandhi did to suppress, to murder, to kill democracy from 75 to 77, it was something that she declared, it was announced, and as we know, it had a time limit. It was withdrawn and elections were held and she got defeated. Today, this emergency, de facto emergency that we are going through is undeclared. The government pretends everything is normal. The Prime Minister speaks of India as the mother of democracy without any sense of irony. And when elections are held next, I would say the way in which the Election Commission has been corrupted, compromised, its independence has been jettisoned, it's not clear that despite the unpopularity of the government, that it would lose an election. So I think we are passing through a very difficult time where you have this all-round attack on the rights of people. And I would say that this is the most dangerous period that the Indian Republic has experienced since its founding.
Do you think there is some serious criticism like the legacy media, the frontline media, sold themselves to the corporate interests or the government interests, and they are sidelining themselves with the government interests? And in such a scenario, the alternative media, the independent media, is struggling to survive. Government is amending IT Acts every day, and they are introducing new regulations and norms. And there is a stricter norms coming every day, day by day. So how you feel like how far the independent media like The Wire can withstand this corporate monopoly?
There was an interview that Narendra Modi gave to the BBC when he was Chief Minister of Gujarat, which was, that part of the interview was shown only recently in the documentary the BBC put out, which the government banned, where the reporter asked Mr. Modi, just after the 2002 killings, that does he have any regret? Is there anything that he would have done differently? And he said in very clear terms that he should have managed the media. This was the understanding with which Mr. Modi came to New Delhi in 2014. That if you want to succeed as a leader, you have to manage the media. And I think he may not have any other successes under his belt, but the way in which he has managed national media is truly remarkable. You have no national television channel in English or Hindi that is today independent, that is worth watching, that will provide critical news coverage of events in the country, that will be courageous enough to ask questions of the Prime Minister or the Home Minister. You have newspapers which tend to pull their punches. There are some exceptions, of course. There are papers that are still doing a great job, but they remain a handful. The Hindu, for example. But the vast majority of newspapers do not believe in holding the government accountable. What's left then is digital media, where the Wire exists, other platforms exist in English, Hindi, Urdu, different languages, Malayalam. And the government is trying its best to control digital media. This is a source of enormous anger and frustration for them. Look at the 24 elections, for example. Mr. Modi had complete control over the media. He had complete control over the Election Commission, effectively. He had more money than anybody else. Despite that, his message was not, accepted by the people. People didn't believe all the promises and statements and the threats that Mr. Modi was making. In all his election speeches, he kept trying to divide the country on religious grounds, warning Hindus that Muslims will take your Mangal Sutra, they'll take your land. He gave more than 100 communal speeches, which the Election Commission did not stop him from doing, which the national media did not find a problem with. But the digital media reported about it. And in the election results, Mr. Modi's numbers fell from over 300 to 240. So for him, this was a lesson that if I don't control digital media now, if I don't manage the digital media, then politically things are going to get very difficult. So we've seen for the last, 2.5 years, there's an effort to further tighten the IT rules, as you said, and they want to control YouTubers. They want to make sure they have very stringent rules now on authorizing the police to take down social media content. So you can have a tweet, you can have a comment that is critical of Mr. Modi or the BJP, which they don't, and which the party doesn't like. They can file a complaint with the police, and the police will instruct Instagram or Meta or Twitter that you must take this down in 3 hours or whatever it is. And these social media companies, they rush to comply. So the ability to censor content is the new form that the attack on media is taking. And so he is very worried about digital media. And as you say, this is a challenge for us, because apart from the financial burden, which we always were dealing with, because the fact is that you can survive as independent media only if you have the financial support of your readers and viewers. So you're not dependent on investors, corporations, advertisers to survive. And so many of us are surviving, but it's a struggle. But now he's added this new headache, which is of, censoring content, deleting. We had a problem last year when they blocked access to the Wire website for 24 hours. So these weapons which they are using is making it more challenging for us to do the work that we do. But we are carrying on, and we will carry on, because I think the public has the right to know what is happening in this country.
You mentioned about SIR. So do you think like the SIR became a deliberate weapon in the hands of the BJP government? This government is using that weapon against the opposition and those who dissent, and while tagging them as anti-nationals?
I mentioned the 24 election result as a wake-up call for Mr. Modi. This was a big shock for him. He was talking of, in Hindi, ab ki baar 400 par, that we will get 400 plus seats. And they got 240. BJP couldn't even manage a simple majority. And he came back to power as Prime Minister on the support of the Telugu Desam Party and Janata Dal United. Otherwise, he could not have become Prime Minister. This shock to Mr. Modi made him, I think, determined to get the Election Commission to fiddle around with the procedure, process, rules in such a way that it becomes harder for the BJP to lose seats. I'm convinced that the SIR exercise, which was launched first with Bihar, then Bengal, now they're doing it everywhere else. The talk of delimitation.
Yes, sir.
All of this is aimed at creating constituencies that are easier to manage for the BJP and creating an electorate that is more easy to manipulate for the BJP. So we can see systematic deletion of different sections of the population. So SIR, they have this big scare that India is full of foreigners. And so the Election Commission is now trying to cleanse the voting rolls. And, so they're insisting that people show all kinds of documents which most Indians don't have. How can you, find documents going back 20, 30 years in this country? It's not easy and particularly for poor people. Even if somebody in the middle class or somebody who's wealthy manages to locate those papers, it's the poor who are getting disenfranchised. And it is the poor who are suffering under Mr. Modi, right? So there is a, Mr. Amit Shah keeps saying, chronology samajiye, understand the chronology of what we are doing. If you see, the one weapon that the poor in India had always was the power to vote. And a politician had to live in fear that if we don't deliver to the poor, they can use that power to kick us out. So now what you are doing is you are taking that power away from them. Once you take the power away, then it doesn't matter if they are unemployed, if they are hungry, if they are homeless, because they can't do anything to you. So this is the system that Mr. Modi is putting in place, that he will be able to rule uninterruptedly. You will have the structure of democracy, but effectively the ability of poor people in this country to choose who will rule India, that power is going to be weakened to the extent to which it does not exist anymore. I think that is what is happening with the SIR. Of course, with the opposition parties, as you said, they are employing other tactics. Earlier, they used to use Enforcement Directorate, CBI, etc., etc. Now they are going one step further, making sure that they defect in large numbers. So they engineered a mass defections from Trinamool Congress, from Aam Aadmi Party, from Shiv Sena, UBT. And who knows who they will target next. The idea seems to be to get a 2/3 majority in the Lok Sabha so that they can amend the constitution. I would imagine that is the direction in which they are going. And it just tells you how the sole driver of Mr. Modi's entire approach to public affairs is how do I ensure I remain Prime Minister forever? And this is an extremely dangerous, situation for the rest of the country.
So the political equations in India underwent a significant change after the 2024 elections, Lok Sabha elections. I mean, the country's governance shifted from a unilateral BJP government to a coalition structure. And is this an emergent trend? Can we consider it as an emergent trend, or is the BJP slowly losing its absolute dominance at the national level?
See, Mr. Modi does not believe in coalitions. Mr. Modi doesn't believe in cabinet system. Mr. Modi believes in his own supreme authority. So he is trying to function in exactly the same way as he was functioning in 2014, when he had an absolute majority. In 2014, initially you had senior cabinet ministers who could raise questions. They gradually became silent, they became marginalized. Some of them died, unfortunately. And today you have essentially a cabinet of yes people who agree to everything he says. You can see photographs of their meetings. All they seem to do is clap for him. And so this is a one-man show. And, so yes, BJP needs, because of the 24 election result, they need coalition partners. But Mr. Modi, I suspect is, he has managed that because I don't think TDP or JDU is ever going to challenge him. But to get himself added level of security, they are engineering these defections. So probably, in 2024, he was short by 33. If you add the Trinamool 2021 people, plus the UBT group, that takes you close to 30. And so he is close to getting his own majority anyway. So I don't think coalition era is something that Mr. Modi believes in. Of course, for the opposition can only defeat Mr. Modi through coalition politics. That is the logic behind what they formed 3 years ago with the India Alliance. It's been hard for them to have a kind of political cohesion. At election time, this alliance doesn't exactly hold together. We saw in Kerala and Bengal, there are objective difficulties. How can the left and the Congress fight BJP nationally when they are fighting each other in Kerala? How can Trinamool and Congress fight BJP nationally when they fought against each other in West Bengal, right? So these are objective difficulties which it should be possible to overcome, but I don't think the opposition has mastered that art of coalition building. I don't think they fully understand the gravity of the situation. And but coalition coalition era is I think very much there among us, and this assumption that coalitions are bad, I think is wrong. I think that when India had coalition governments earlier, whether it's VP Singh, whether it's Deve Gowda and Inder Gujral, even Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government was a coalition government, Manmohan Singh's government was a coalition government. The economy continued to perform. It's not as if the current government of Mr. Modi, in fact, I would say on the economy, on foreign policy, things have been quite disastrous. Would a coalition government ever have done the foolish thing that Mr. Modi did of demonetization? I doubt it. It's only when one man has supreme power that he can behave in this capricious manner, completely irrational manner. And today, he has no answer. We're coming up to 10 years, by the way, of demonetization. If he has no answer to why did you do it? What did the country what did the country gain? And the funny part is that there's nobody to ask him. He will not allow a question in Parliament. He will not allow a journalist to ask him that. So this kind of authority in the hand of one man is extremely dangerous for a country like ours.
So there is a strong observation, like the brand Modi or the Modi magic is no longer attracting voters as it used to be. And can this be viewed as a mere temporary anti-incumbency, or should we consider that the Indian politics is undergoing a deep structural transformation?
You see, the what you call the Modi brand, which I would call more accurately the cult of Modi, it's a personality cult. It's a manufactured cult on the basis of, recently there was an RTI, thousands of crores of rupees, taxpayer money has been spent to promote Mr. Modi. They misused government machinery. You recall during COVID, putting his picture on the vaccination certificate. During the in the run up to the election, they came up with the slogan "Modi ki guarantee." Like, government is doing things for the people by using taxpayer money, but this is called Modi's guarantee. So this personification of government policies with Modi, using his face, having endless propaganda on TV channels, on radio about Modi, then highlighting his foreign visits, where a lot of now the latest fashion for Mr. Modi, craze for Mr. Modi and his supporters is to get him some kind of award wherever he goes. So you have this. He recently went to Seychelles and won award, Guardian of the Blue Horizon award was
it's a new award.
A new award, fabricated just for his visit. And as the Seychelles government said, we did it in such a rush.
Even the spelling was
that we got the spellings wrong. So you can imagine what kind of obviously the Indians said, look, this is very important. Please give him some award. Any award, doesn't matter what it is. Jaldi karo, right? So why is Mr. Modi doing all this? He's doing all this because he hopes to somehow convince the people of India, who can see that his rule as Prime Minister is no good. He has not delivered on jobs. He's not delivered on infrastructure. On every front, this government has been failing. But you somehow create the impression that no, around the world he's very popular. He has raised India's prestige. The world thinks he's great. The world actually thinks he's a joke, because you basically can get him to visit your country and sign all kinds of deals if you give him a reward. What kind of a message does that send, right? And so he went to Israel just before Israel attacked Iran, and they fabricated one medal of the Crescent. Earlier, he got that Philip Kotler Award, which nobody has ever heard of before or after. So this is not what a prime minister of a serious country does. And it's unfortunate that Mr. Modi's preoccupation is with image management, that he has made himself and the country, to a certain extent, the object of ridicule. So all of this is, as you say, aimed at, the so-called Modi brand. But I don't think this campaign of theirs, this advertising campaign, PR campaign, is successful at all anymore. And you can see this in social media, for example. You can see this in the way people talk, the number of jokes that are now circulating about Modi, the reels and the memes. He has become an object of ridicule. The way he hugs foreign leaders, for example. And, proof that this is really hurting Modi's brand or Modi's image is that they banned some of these cartoons. They banned some of these reels, in claiming that this is against national security. So they are prepared to go to any extent to censor content, to stop humor, to stop people laughing, because they realize that this brand, this cult that they have built, is a hollow cult. It has nothing there. And so I think that this is a cause for concern for them, definitely. I would say that there is ample evidence that the success of the BJP in projecting Modi as a leader, in 2024 itself, it showed that this campaign has exhausted itself. It cannot produce the results you need. And I think today the situation is even more worse. It's worse for them, which is why they are desperately trying to poach MPs, and manufacture a mandate that they never got in 24. In 24, the mandate was, the people of India said, sorry, Mr. Modi, you want 400. We think you're good only for 240. Now, by threatening, buying, who knows what they're doing to get these MPs, you want to go artificially from 240 to 270, 280, maybe to 2/3. This is an illegitimate act on his part and shows his desperation.
So the BJP's policies often prioritized highly centralized governance. And however, in recent times, regional identities and federalism have come into the forefront of this political discourse. And is the future of national politics rooted in federalism or in a narrow band of nationalism?
It's unfortunate that when Mr. Modi was chief minister, he used to speak about federalism because he opposed many steps that the union government was taking. And he spoke like a chief minister, defending the federal principle. Today, as prime minister, Mr. Modi came up with this phrase, cooperative federalism, but in reality, they have made massive inroads into the rights and prerogatives of states. And I would say what he's trying to do with delimitation is a further assault on the rights of states, particularly South India. And, but otherwise, if you look at the way the tax, the sharing of taxes has gone, GST implementation, the way in which they insist that the CBI, NIA, all of these agencies have the right to operate in any state, regardless of what the state government says. Federalism is under attack. There's no question about this. You see this in the imposition of Hindi. When I was driving to the airport to come to Kozhikode, the Prime Minister of Japan is visiting India. Until even 3 or 4 years ago, you would have banners put up everywhere that would welcome the foreign leader in English, Hindi, and their language. Now, the banner is only in Hindi and Japanese. So what is the message you're sending? You're telling Indians who don't know Hindi, which is the majority of Indians, that you don't matter. The only thing that matters are the Hindi-speaking people, right? So what is this mindset? When India is a beautiful, diverse country with so many different languages, cultures, we have a vibrant federal system, and the name of the country is the Union of India. You want to reduce this to a single identity, to a single structure. They're obsessed with this one nation, one election, one nation, one leader, one nation, one language. This is not how India works. And, you should not, I would say anybody who's trying to force fit this kind of structure onto a diverse country like India, a country whose strength is its diversity, whose unity is built on the basis of this diversity. You are doing a great disservice to India historically, culturally, at the present moment. So you're absolutely right. Federalism is under attack. I think that this centralizing tendency, BJP was always, historically, if you look at RSS, for example, they never liked federal structure. They wanted a unitary system. And, it's in the thinking of the RSS. And and Mr. Modi is somebody who grew up absorbing those views. So it shouldn't surprise us that he wants a kind of centralized system, besides the fact that he, as I said, he's a one-man show. So he wants to take every decision. He wants to inaugurate everything. He wants to take all decisions himself. He wants his face everywhere. So you can't run a country like India. And maybe that is why he's making such a mess of it.
To what extent are the rising unemployment, inflation, and the economic crisis, distress actually faced by the ordinary citizen, eroding the BJP's political hegemony?
One element of, or one proof of this, of one measure, you could say, of the extent to which the BJP's popularity is suffering, I would say, is the rise of the cockroach Janata Party. Now, of course, the cockroach Janata Party is not a political party in the traditional sense. I don't think they intend to fight elections. I don't think they are that kind of a phenomenon. But what they are is a temperature gauge for you to, or an instrument to measure the pulse of the country. So if out of nowhere, on the basis of an insult which the Chief Justice of India heaped on the unemployed people of India, calling them cockroaches, if on that basis you could have, within the space of 2 or 3 weeks, millions of people, Indians, coming forward saying that, following a cockroach Janata Party, right? That tells you the depth of public anger. That tells you that there is a huge amount of resentment. People are frustrated that the Achhe Din, the jobs, the opportunities that they were promised, none of that has materialized. In fact, what you have is the opposite. That when you raise your voice and speak about this, you are branded as an anti-national, you are branded as unpatriotic, you are branded as a troublemaker or a terrorist. A case can be filed against you. So there is an attempt to criminalize protest when you raise your voice, and or they will divide people on the basis of religion, trying to say that you're Pakistani, Hindu, Muslim. So this, approach of the government to censor, to divide, to polarize, all of this is proof of the fact that their message is not convincing anybody. And so I think young people are resentful. It's a different matter that this resentment, we still don't know which direction is it going to go. Where will it be channeled? The government has also been very careful. For example, after their initial reaction of trying to ban cockroach party's Twitter handle and so on and so forth, they realized that, well, this may be counterproductive. So they have allowed cockroach Janata Party to have a protest in Delhi, in Nagpur, a couple of other places. They're thinking that maybe this will let off steam. So, frankly, we don't know which direction will this go. But here is a very good demonstration of the extent of public anger. And I would say it's up to social movements, it's up to the opposition parties to be able to build on this, to harness this resentment, to harness this energy, and to turn it into something that will actually produce political change. Because by itself, resentment and anger doesn't do that. It has to be harnessed, it has to be channelized. And this is the big challenge for opposition parties.
Comparing to the previous governments, we have a comparatively better, strong opposition in the parliament. And Rahul Gandhi and the other opposition leaders are spearheading massive movements across the country. Even now, they are racing against this government's policy on education policies and newspaper leak scam and everything. They are exposing and they are contesting wide kind of campaigns against the government policies and failures. And he had already done the Bharat Jodo Yatra, the Rahul Gandhi. And is what Congress has achieved a genuine ideological comeback? Or is it merely thriving under the shade of natural public anchor against the BJP?
No, that's a great question. I think that there is greater dynamism in the opposition's day-to-day functioning. There is more spirited response to the government's failings. Their social media campaigns are clever. And not just the Congress. I mean, we've seen DMK, Samajwadi Party, Aam Aadmi Party. All of these parties are much more effective today in terms of their messaging than they were even 5 years ago. However, to counter and deal with the challenge that the Bharatiya Janata Party poses to them, you need a much higher degree of coordination. You need a much higher degree of cohesion. You need more continuous communication. In any other country, given the kind of situation that we face today, you probably would have the opposition parties, the India Alliance, say, holding weekly events, weekly press conference, maybe even a daily press conference in response to things that are happening every day. And communicating their messages to the people through designated spokespersons. Many countries have this system of a shadow government. In the UK, for example, there would be a designated MP in the opposition who would speak on foreign policy, who would speak on finance. So the opposition has very capable people who have been finance minister, who've been foreign minister, who've been home minister in the past. And they should be fielded regularly to speak with authority on various initiatives that the government is taking, rather than, how does the opposition today communicate? They do it by sending fairly junior spokespersons to different TV channels for these arguments which don't produce any conclusion, and where the anchor themselves tends to be in favor of the government. So rather than focusing all your energies on that, it may be important, you can carry on doing that. But I think a more structured communication process, using the top faces that you have, rather than deploying your top faces once every 6 months or 8 months, that may be more effective as a strategy. Rahul Gandhi has infused, I would say, a higher degree of ideological cohesion in the Congress. We didn't see the party speaking in this way even 3 or 4 years ago, not to speak of a decade back. But is this translating into organizational coherence? I don't know. I don't think so. It took them so many years to sort out their problem in Karnataka, to select a chief minister in Kerala, a person like Satishan, who was, everybody in Kerala knew that he was the first choice of the MLAs and of people here. It still took the Congress High Command more than 2 weeks to sort that out. In Madhya Pradesh, where the party had a government, they could not sort out the infighting between Baghel and T.S. Singhdeo. So this organizational kind of flabbiness in the Congress and the inability to be decisive, I think is a big problem. A small example, but it's important. To lose the election for the one Rajya Sabha seat in Madhya Pradesh that you could have easily won given your numbers in the assembly, right? Meenakshi Natarajan, yes, BJP played dirty. Yes, they probably got the returning officer to also go along with them. But you need, as a political party, you need to think 2 steps ahead. You need to prepare yourself. You need to cover all your bases. And I don't think the Congress party necessarily showed itself as skillful in playing the game of politics as the BJP showed itself, right? So somewhere down the line, your ideological clarity has to translate into organizational agility. And as of now, it seems that the Congress party is lacking in that regard, and so is the overall India alliance.
To clarify, I think we need a little bit more clarification on this. And to emerge as a strong national alternative, this Congress still faces some certain internal crises, like particularly the structural weaknesses and within the party framework itself. And can the Congress counter the BJP's massive election machinery in the long run based on solely this popular appeal?
You see, there is a structural issue which goes well beyond the Congress. It's easy to fault the role of, say, Rahul Gandhi. Recently, there was a whole controversy where leading historian Ram Guha wrote a piece questioning Rahul Gandhi's ability. A lot of people criticized, a lot of people defended what he wrote. Somewhere down the line, though, the fact is that institutionally, the extent of capture by the BJP has gone to such an extent that it's not an easy matter for one leader to turn things around. When the BJP has 10 times more money, when the Election Commission does exactly what the BJP wants, when the judiciary, even when it knows that it has to give a certain ruling, will delay that ruling until it becomes infructuous. Case in point being the whole Maharashtra defection stuff from 2 years ago. So the judiciary is not willing to play that role. The media is in the hands, the national media is in the pocket of the BJP. So it is an uphill task, no question about it. And you add to that what we saw in West Bengal, where even though Mamata Banerjee had the state government, but you had the deployment of central forces to such an extent that even the ruling party, Trinamool, which has a reputation for being quite, shall we say, huggish in its behavior, even their cadre felt intimidated. So and they were able to be strong-armed in a way that we'd never seen before, right? So these are all obstacles, and if you add to that SIR, you add to it deletion of voter names, plus what Mr. Modi is trying to do, which is to increase the parliament strength to 850, which means redrawing the boundaries of every constituency in the country. And you can be sure that the delimitation process will be designed to facilitate. So they have in their mind a map of which communities, which areas are more likely to vote BJP. So they will design these constituencies in such a way that Mr. Modi and the BJP will have an inbuilt majority. So these are all obstacles. But the opposition has to find a way out beyond this. And so that requires, of course, ideological clarity. That requires the ability to communicate to people. It requires organizational strength. It requires coalition building. And it requires you doing this 24/7, every day. No breaks, no holidays, no chuttis. Everybody has to be involved in this. You have to put your best foot forward every single day. That's what the BJP does. So I think this is a difficult task, but it's not an unachievable task. If we decide today it is unachievable, then that's the end of Indian democracy as we know it. And that is an outcome too horrendous to contemplate, because if a country like India with 1.5 billion people gets solidified as the kind of dictatorship that Mr. Modi wants to build, with all, not just classic authoritarianism, but also his communalism, the whole anti-Muslim politics of BJP, if this is allowed to become India's eternal fate, it's a disaster. And, so I think that the opposition needs to focus, needs to devote all its energies. But I would be the first to concede that this is not an easy task. I mean, we are in the media, we face very difficult challenges. You face all these challenges. Even in our limited area of operation, it's uphill. And you can imagine at the political level, at the national level, it's maybe 100 times more difficult. But that work has to be done.
As you said, the relations and dispute within the regional parties within the India bloc remain a constant challenge for the Congress. And what is a practical path forward for the Congress to capture the power at the center or national level without alienating regional parties?
No, Congress is not in a position to come to power nationally without alliances with regional parties. This is very clear. And I think the Congress itself recognizes this, and the Congress has recognized this for some time. But they need to embrace that logic fully. I can understand in some states where the Congress has, in Bihar, for example, they have a presence. Tamil Nadu, they have a presence as junior partners of the regional party. Uttar Pradesh, they have a presence. And they are keen not to fully disappear. So every time at election time, there is a bargaining over how many seats should be allocated. Party needs to be rational there, because the goal has to be in 2029. If you're thinking as an India alliance, how can India alliance come to power? So if that means Congress sacrificing some seats to Samajwadi in Uttar Pradesh, they should do it. It's easy for me to say. On the ground, it becomes harder for the party to accept and implement. But the idea that Congress can come to power by itself, it can't. Congress today is not, I mean, it has lost, like, for example, in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Haryana. Okay, Haryana, you have other regional parties, but certainly Rajasthan, Gujarat, Himachal, Uttarakhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, there are no regional parties there. It's BJP versus Congress. And in the last 3 Lok Sabha elections, the total number of seats that the Congress has been able to win from these states is, maybe, I wonder if it's even double digits, right? So this okay, Chhattisgarh they won in the past, but in the last election they didn't. So this, you're not able to give BJP a fight in states where it's a one-to-one contest. So I think the Congress focus has to be on strengthening its presence and making sure that it comes back in Gujarat, holds its own in Madhya Pradesh. When is it's completely fallow territory for Congress in the Lok Sabha. They need to focus on how to win Lok Sabha seats there. So if the Congress pays attention to these states, where it's the principal party, it should make sure it wins all or as many seats as it can. In states where it is in coalition, where it's a junior partner, I don't think it should worry about getting extra seats from its partners and then losing those seats. So, I think this is the rational approach. Of course, one big challenge for the Congress is going to be, as we go towards 2029, what to do in Tamil Nadu. Because in 24, they fought the Lok Sabha election in alliance with the DMK. They also fought the Vidhan Sabha elections, but then DMK lost. Congress ditched DMK and moved to TVK. So, obviously an alliance with the DMK is not possible. So there will have to be an alliance with the TVK. But you'll have a 3 or 4 way split in the Lok Sabha election. So it's kind of complicated. And I don't see an easy way for the Congress to build coalition partners where it can carry everybody along. It's unthinkable that you could have one front where you have DMK, TVK and Congress as of today. It seems impossible. So, this is a very difficult choice. But I would say in other states, the choice is not that difficult. Congress knows what it has to do in a place like Uttar Pradesh or Bihar or Jharkhand. I would say even West Bengal. And, the states like Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, where you have Aam Aadmi Party coming up, which is ambitious, there it's going to be slightly complex, but not insurmountable.
So the consolidation of Dalit, backward class and minority votes is a current strength of the Congress. And our new political cards played by the Congress is capable of completely countering the Hindutva politics put forward by the BJP. And are they capable of completely countering the politics in the upcoming state and national elections? So
the one card, as you put it, that the Congress has come up with is the caste census card.
Yeah, that is what I meant.
And, the BJP, which initially was very critical of caste census, calling it a divisive ploy, anti-national. The phrase that Yogi Adityanath used is "baatenge to katenge." In other words, that this is a ploy to get Hindus massacred. And having said all those ridiculous things, the BJP realized that no, hang on, there is a popular sentiment to have castes counted. And so they went and embraced this. I don't know to what extent they will follow through and how quickly and how robust the data will be. But clearly this is an issue that the Congress was able to pick up, which generated traction among supporters. I think the exams issue is another one. I think that the Congress's ability to articulate generally grievances on caste. Rahul Gandhi has been quite vocal about the marginalization of Dalit people in business, in media, in politics. So there is a conscious attempt by the party to revive its image. I think in the past, a lot of this was very symbolic. I think the party was able to carry the support of Dalit and Muslim voters without necessarily delivering much as far as Dalit rights or minor Muslim rights were concerned. Congress maybe is now trying to appear more sincere. And I think there is a sense in which the BJP is quite worried and will also be equally aggressive. Rahul Gandhi's whole pitch in 24 about the constitution, khatre mein hai. And the fact that you had BJP leaders who were saying, if we get our 400 par, then we will amend the constitution. So people are able to see this as an attack on Dalit rights, on Baba Saheb Ambedkar's legacy. I think that this was genuinely new stuff coming from the Congress, which we have to credit Rahul Gandhi for, no doubt. How effective will this be? I think it has worked to quite an extent. But more than this attempt to fracture, I think that the BJP is vulnerable on issues like exams, unemployment. After all, who are the victims of the exam scam? Majority of the victims are Hindus. Majority of the people who don't get jobs in this country and who have been cheated out of their rights for employment are Hindus. When the government destroys the environment, the majority of people who are affected are Hindus because of air. I mean, who is it who dies because of air pollution? It's the Garv se kaho hum Hindu. I mean, BJP wants to say, be proud about that you're a Hindu, but you're killing these Hindus with bad air, with bad water. So I think that emphasizing the failure of the government to deliver on its promises on the economic front, I think is a far more effective way to prevent BJP from polarizing the electorate on the basis of religion than simply playing more identity politics. I think it's important to emphasize Dalit rights because Dalits have rights that have to be respected. Not because by speaking of Dalit rights, I'm going to fracture the Hindutva vote. I think that, and similarly, Muslims have rights. We need to, in any constitutional republic, you have minority rights which are important and the constitution guarantees these rights. Defending these rights are important. And I don't think parties should worry that by defending these rights, somebody will vote for me or somebody will not vote for me. This is what the constitution requires. When you take an oath to the constitution, you take an oath to defend, to uphold people's right to religion, to practice the religion they want without fear or favor. You uphold the constitutional guarantee that there should be no discrimination. And yet you have a government today in power that openly discriminates, whose leaders openly, you can have Suvendu Adhikari getting elected as Chief Minister of Bengal saying, I'm not going to work for Muslims. So, this has to be confronted head on because it is an anti-constitutional thing. It is a wrong thing to say. And, I would like to see the Congress being more aggressive when you have the BJP making these kinds of open declarations of communal politics and communal policies. So far, Congress has been a little bit reluctant to openly criticize and speak against this because they're afraid that somehow this will help BJP But I think that this is something the Congress needs to look at very seriously.
You previously mentioned about the BJP's method of splitting the local parties, like as witnessed in the states in Maharashtra and in Bengal. The BJP follows a pattern of engineering the splits within the regional parties and pressuring them using their central investigation agencies. And in the long run, will this strategy gain a BJP new loyalists, or will it trigger a backlash among the public?
The first thing I want to say is, and it may sound kind of rhetorical or unnecessary to say this, but you see, BJP as a party says that we are a clean party, we don't practice corruption, we don't do illegal things, we don't do immoral things, yet you are engendering defections. I'm not even going to get into why somebody has left Trinamool and come to you, or left Aam Aadmi Party and come to you. There are all kinds of allegations there about money, about threats. We'll leave that aside for a minute. If somebody is elected on a party ticket, this means that you have gone to the public, got their vote on the basis of a certain political platform. Okay, you decide now, for whatever reason, that you do not subscribe to that political platform. The correct thing to do is to resign. You should resign from the Lok Sabha, resign from the Rajya Sabha, and if you still want to be in politics, you go back to the people. So you decide that you want to support, you have abused Narendra Modi for 20 years. You now decide that you love him. That's your business. Resign your seat. Ask Mr. Modi to give you a ticket. Fight the election and come back. That's what moral politics has to be. And the BJP, and I'm saying this because the BJP claims to be moral. And this has to be highlighted, that what they're doing by engineering defections, welcoming these people, is immoral, corrupt politics. Will it help BJP? I don't think it's going to help BJP at all. I think the public sees that here is a mandate which is being abused. I would say BJP loyalists and supporters also are saying, what is this? Till yesterday, we were calling Himanta Biswa Sharma corrupt. Now he's become a big BJP chief minister and we are supposed to be loyal to him. Till yesterday, even Suvendu Adhikari was caught on tape.
Still that video
taking money.
Social media.
That video was put out by the BJP on YouTube. Now, of course, they've removed that video, but it's there.
It's there.
So, and this fellow is now BJP chief minister of a party that says, na khaunga, na khane dunga. Uska khane wala video to aapne khud upload kiya hai. So, I think that this is I can't see how this, if there are any genuine voters of BJP who are somehow still believing that BJP is a clean party, then how do you digest all of this stuff? So I don't think this is going to help BJP. Of course, it provides short-term gains. And if Mr. Modi's plan is to take these short-term gains and use that to introduce long-term structural changes in the electoral process, constitutional process, then this is very dangerous. And then obviously that's going to help Mr. Modi in the long run. But as far as any system that is based on public support, I don't see how this kind of defection politics is going to help the BJP.
Sir, regional parties are often reflections of the local aspirations and the distinct identities of those diverse communities. And how grave a democratic threat does trying to destroy them pose to India's federal structure?
You see, these regional parties themselves also need to do some introspection. These parties, of course, they represent regional aspirations, but these aspirations are driven by the financial business interests of regional elites. They're enmeshed in family politics. Most of these regional parties are run by dynasts. So father, son, grandson, cousin, nephew, this kind of, this is not the basis to do modern politics. I would say that many of these regional parties have a questionable ideology. Like the ease with which Trinamool Congress has collapsed tells us that this party never paid attention to defining itself ideologically. Otherwise, how is it possible that candidates who have fought elections saying that Narendra Modi chor hai, BJP chor hai, abusing BJP and Modi, within hours of losing an election, you decide that you're all going to shift over to BJP. So you have the funny Mr. Ritabhrata in West Bengal is the leader of the opposition, and for the first time you have a leader of opposition saying that we support the government. So so this tells you that, of course, it's a comment first and foremost on the morality of Ritabhrata, but it is also a comment on the lack of any ideological, political, organizational clarity and structure with Trinamool Congress, which shouldn't surprise us because this party was built around the cult of Mamta. So just as today BJP is built around the cult of Modi, you have the Hindutva ideology, but there is a cult of Modi that is very distinct. So similarly in Trinamool, the personality and cult of Mamta Banerjee, in Samajwadi, the place of Mulayam and Akhilesh, and RJD, Lalu's children. In DMK, you had first Kalingar, and then you had Stalin. Now Stalin's son is trying to take over. So this is not Telangana, BRS from KCR to KTR. TDP, you see this. Highly unhealthy. So yes, of course, if BJP is destroying these regional parties and trying to incorporate them into a kind of national level, this is not good for regional aspirations. But these parties also have to introspect that what are they doing wrong that allows them to be swallowed up so easily like this. And I would say, regional parties like BJD, Jagan Party, even today, despite being, clearly their enemy is the BJP, their leaders are reluctant to speak with clarity. So how do you defend Andhra interests as a YSRCP if you are not prepared to even take a stand on Mr. Modi's delimitation bill? So Naidu, who is a BJP ally, is defending Modi on delimitation, which is going to reduce the voice of the South. But YSRCP is not able to take a stand either. So what regional interests are you going to defend? So I think that these parties have to modernize themselves. They have to become democratic. They have to reflect the aspirations of their people. Otherwise, they are going to just replicate at the state level what the BJP is doing at the national level.
So I think the aggressive political manners by the BJP have made the regional parties more cautious. And even while aligning with the BJP, the key allies like Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu are exerting pressure to safeguard their regional interests. And will this lead to a creation of a more robust collective defense mechanism among the regional parties in the future?
I don't think Chandrababu Naidu is defending Andhra interests in having a coalition with Mr. Modi. I think there are certain personally driven projects that are close to Mr. Naidu's heart. Amravati, for example, Polavaram, some of these things. And he has got assurance of support from Modi for these projects. And that seems to be the only thing that matters. Otherwise, how can a leader like Andhra, a leader of Andhra like Naidu, not recognize the politics behind Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah's delimitation plan, which is going to reduce the collective voice of Andhra, Telugu country, and the whole of South India. So I think that they sell these coalitions to their public. So Nitish Kumar said Bihar package, Bihar ka fayda hoga, but then within a year he was out. The BJP maneuvered and he is kicked out of, and JDU is looking at a very obscure future in Bihar. And if Mr. Naidu was smarter, he would recognize that what happened to Shiv Sena in Maharashtra, what happened to JDU in Bihar, what happened to BJD in Odisha, but in a different kind of sense, is also what's going to happen to him in Andhra. But he's so focused and consumed on the short term that this is all that matters to him. And I think that this is a great disservice. You're right that regional parties need to be aware. They are aware of what the BJP is trying to do. And, Akalis understand this perfectly. Why did the Akalis break their alliance with BJP in Punjab? Because they knew that Mr. Modi is, first of all, against farmers. But secondly, the aim of the BJP everywhere is to swallow and destroy the coalition partner. They did that with Shiv Sena beautifully in Maharashtra. Today, the BJP is the most important party, whereas earlier it was Shiv Sena. And, regional parties know and understand this, but how they fight it is something that they have to figure out. I don't think that very many of them, I think DMK understood this pretty well. And even now, I think DMK, see, it would be the easiest thing for DMK
to align with BJP.
To go back and align. They've done it in the past, right? They were part of Vajpayee's government. And today, BJP would love it if they were to come back. But I think Stalin and the DMK recognize ideologically how hostile and how bad BJP would be for Tamil Nadu's interests. And I'm imagining that they will stick to that stand, even though it opens up a very complex, situation for them in terms of electoral politics. So, that is one regional party. DMK is also the only regional party that understood what the abrogation of Article 370 in Kashmir was all about and how this was an attack on the federal principle. So DMK spoke against, when Jammu Kashmir lost its status as a state, DMK was the only regional party to say this is very wrong. Aam Aadmi Party, which was facing the same problem in Delhi of lack of status as a state, supported BJP. So I think that, the question that you have posed is a very valid question. How do state parties respond to this threat? But I don't think that TDP and JDU are doing it.
So the construction and inauguration of Ram Temple was considered the pinnacle of BJP's political success. And however, the recent allegations like loot and dacoity from the Ram Temple is actually, and there was also an SIT investigation happened in this, and they just revealed there is huge mistakes happening, huge irregularities happening in the temple. So is what we are witnessing in Ayodhya, is that just an internal conflict between the Sangh Parivar, or is it a warning that the BJP is losing its control or its own?
See, there's no internal conflict that should worry us or bother us, quite frankly. The Ram Temple is a BJP temple. Let's be very clear. It is a Sangh Parivar temple. The Sangh Parivar mobilized and destroyed the Babri Masjid in 1992. A case was registered against their leaders by the CBI. That case was deliberately sabotaged by the CBI once Mr. Modi became Prime Minister. Mr. Modi and the BJP put pressure on the Supreme Court to quickly resolve the long pending property dispute. The Supreme Court, despite calling the demolition of the Babri Masjid a heinous crime, decided to give that land to the very people who were accused at that time of committing the heinous crime. And those people then get put into the trust to build the temple. Why should it surprise us if individuals who committed a crime to acquire a piece of property, an acquisition that was driven by a political agenda, today are accused of robbing money from there? It doesn't surprise me in the least. And I don't think there is any infighting here. This was a BJP temple. It was managed by BJP people. And I would imagine the money has been taken. Maybe some individuals have pocketed some money. But it wouldn't surprise me if tomorrow it emerges that a lot of money taken out was deployed for the for BJP's political purposes. The fact that the theft happens, the fact that there is a cover-up, because it took forever for them to register an FIR. I remember when reports first came, right? Samajwadi Party started talking about it. The first response, the media completely ignored it. They said, this is all scaremongering. Who are you? You are anti-Hindu. You never supported the temple. Who are you to talk about chori? When evidence started emerging, this is what they started saying. Then you have some of these prominent names coming out. But even that is not enough, because at the end of the day, it is the trustees who have to take responsibility. And the trustees were basically put there by the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister's office. And Mr. Modi ensured that his chosen person, Nripendra Mishra, who was his most trusted bureaucrat, was put in charge of that whole trust. So I don't see how the Prime Minister himself can evade responsibility for it. And the fact that somebody who keeps having his Man Ki Baat and tweeting has not said a word about this tells you all that you need to know. Because he realizes that this is politically extremely damaging for him. And people at large also are not fools. They know what's going on, and they know why you won't talk about it. They know why there's no proper investigation, and why some small fish may be caught, but the big crime will never be unraveled. At the end of the day, though, BJP will pay a price for this, because people, people now are saying that you made a fool of us earlier. You played with our sentiment for your political gain. You destroyed the mosque. You caused so much of bloodshed. You built this temple, and now you're looting that temple. All of this is for your benefit. And you are claiming that this is for Hindus. What do Hindus have to do with this? So, earlier, when they destroyed the mosque, they tried to implicate, they tried to make all Hindus guilty of that. And by saying that, ye to Hinduon ka mandir hai, you basically, you involve everybody in your crime so that you can get away. And now you're trying to say that this is a temple for all Hindus, but you're the one who looted it. So I think that this is extremely damaging. I think that this is you see, all the earlier crimes connected with Babri Masjid, Ram Janambhoomi, appearance of idols, opening of gates, destroying the mosque, police firing, this, that. The BJP could always say, look, it's not our government. Mulayam Singh was chief minister. Or when the mosque was demolished, Narasimha Rao was the prime minister. Or when the locks were opened, Rajiv Gandhi was the prime minister. Today, you can't say that. You have a government in UP that has won 2 terms, 3 terms. You have a government in Delhi which is there for the 3rd term. You have no excuse. This has happened in your watch. You are dragging your feet. You did not register an FIR quickly. Even now, you're not going against the actual persons. So there will be a political price to pay for this.
Some recent statements made by RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat hinted at disagreements within the BJP leadership. And does the leadership in Nagpur feel that when the power is entirely centralized within the BJP, and it poses a threat to the foundation of the RSS? And how resilient is the current bond between the BJP and RSS?
See, there is a phrase in English, rats deserting a sinking ship. Mr. Modi's government has produced the most wonderful time for the RSS in its history. They have achieved the kind of influence and prominence that they could only dream of. They have their guys in every ministry. They have their guys in every sector, every institution. They decide many things. They are getting to push their whole very, very dangerous cultural, communal agenda. But this works only as long as Modi is popular. Tomorrow, if Modi goes, if BJP goes, RSS recognizes that there will be a backlash, not just against BJP, but against RSS too, because you're the ones who are benefiting from it, right? So I think it shouldn't surprise us if, after having propelled Mr. Modi to that position, if after having benefited for 12 years, if despite benefiting even today, you are trying to distance yourself, this means that you are covering your base. You're buying insurance. You're trying to tell the public, dekho, we also are upset. We also expressed our dissatisfaction. So they are being too clever by half. You want to hunt with the wolves, run with the hares. Doesn't work that way though. And I think the public at large is going to see the RSS for what it is. It's impossible for the RSS to dissociate itself. This is their project. They are the ones who put forward Vishwa Hindu Parishad. They are the ones who supplied the foot soldiers who demolished the Babri Masjid. They are the ones who used, over the last 3-4 years, they've stoked the fires of other conflicts, like in Mathura, in Kashi, in Dhar. It's their people. And today you're turning around to say that, no, there is, we also have problem, things should be investigated. It doesn't work. But you're right. This shows this appearance of dissonance between RSS and BJP. I don't know how deep it runs, but I would say this is also a manifestation of the RSS kind of buying insurance cover for the time when BJP loses power or the public's frustration reaches a very high level. There is no genuine ideological difference between the two. There is no, these are all RSS people. Mr. Modi is a former pracharak.
In between that, are we witnessing a Modi-Yogi fight here?
I've heard and read about these things. I would say not. I would say that Modi, even today, within the BJP setup, is all-powerful. And if he wants Yogi to go, if he really wants Yogi to go, Yogi will go. So I don't think that there is a genuine battle here between these two. And even if there is a genuine battle, certainly there is no choice. I mean, this is not, I don't think one is in a position to say one is better, one is worse, or somebody stands for some principle, somebody stands for some, this is a fight over spoils maybe. And if there is a fight, a genuine fight, if Yogi is dissatisfied, again, it's a product of the same thing. That he's trying to say that, okay, Modi's ship is sinking. Why should I go down with him? That I should try to, don't forget that he emerges, his own background is not RSS. He comes from Gorakhpur, a different kind of a tradition which has made common cause with the Sangh Parivar, but he himself is not an RSS background. And so he had his own Hindu Suraksha Samiti, different organization. And, so I think that, it shouldn't surprise you if these are all manifestations of rats leaving a sinking ship. Do they know something that we don't? Does Mohan Bhagwat or Yogi, do they believe that this ship is sinking? It looks that way. But I don't think there is any ideological or great political difference between any of these gentlemen. But it's a fight for self-preservation. And you want to make sure that if he's going down, I don't go down with him.
Reports indicates that certain factions within the BJP and RSS are dissatisfied with the functioning of the Temple Trust. And how does this RSS evaluate the failures of BJP in effectively converting the sentiment surrounding the Ram Temple into an electoral votes?
See, that card is gone. There is no, whatever use was made of the temple in the past cannot be made anymore because it's become clear to people that you have stolen from that. And theft has happened. Champat Rai himself says that long before the theft was discovered, I knew about it. Well, if you knew about it, why didn't you file an FIR? Who are you protecting? So we have the admission from these guys themselves, who are all handpicked by Narendra Modi and endorsed by Yogi Adityanath and all of these fellows. So they can't so an RSS cannot turn around today and say, we are not happy with the way the trust is run. Obviously, you'll say that, but as long as the theft was not public, you had no problem. So, and you knew about the theft. Champat Rai knew about the theft. It's only when things became public that he started talking about it, right? So, you're putting distance between yourself and that. But the fact is that the way this stuff is run, you have benefited from it in the past. and you're trying to make the best of a bad situation. So I think that the opposition needs to stick with this topic and drive home the point that this is your temple. You hoodwinked and fooled people into supporting your project, and you have stolen from this temple now, and you have to pay the price.
A poignant question echoing in the political circles right now is, will what started in Ayodhya is meeting its pathetic end in Ayodhya? Like in the 1990s, it was the Ayodhya movement that capitulated the BJP into the mainstream national politics. And could the recent electoral defeat in Ayodhya and the unfolding of controversies mark the beginning of the end of the politics of BJP's dominance?
Frankly, it's very early to say that. I would say that if things follow a logical trajectory, what has emerged in Ayodhya today of evidence of theft, evidence of cover-up, even now at the 11th hour, you can see reluctance by the top leadership to actually probe this issue. It should mean the public is going to realize and they're going to vote against these people. So you're right. I mean, what began as, so if Ayodhya catapulted them into power, Ayodhya, what has happened in Ayodhya should lead to them being kicked out, because people will see that the whole project was a fraud from start. It was a politically driven fraud by this political party, nothing religious about it, entirely driven by their political ambition. And they have, not hesitated to take money that devotees have offered and so on. So whether things play out that way is hard to say. And elections are still 2.5 years away. You have the Uttar Pradesh state elections, which are due next year. And I think Yogi's big worry right now, given the fact that it is Akhilesh who helped to expose the theft from Ayodhya. Akhilesh's big worry will be to make sure that he gets re-elected as state government. So I would say, before we draw any firm conclusions about what happens at the national level, we need to see how the state elections play out. If BJP loses in February 2027, then certainly it's a very bad omen for Mr. Modi nationally. But if somehow they manage to pull together by using SIR, using all these different tactics, because they will do everything, whatever the so-called differences between RSS and BJP, Yogi and Modi, all of them are united in making sure that BJP does not lose in the state election. Because if the BJP loses that election, that generates momentum towards a wider set of defeats, which none of them will want. So I think we need to withhold judgment right now and see what happens in February.
So the last question is, we sent off the conversation, I think. How hopeful are you about, in between all this chaos, how hopeful are you about the future of our Indian democracy? Is it going to be stuck with this authoritarian regime, or are you hopeful about our progress towards a clean democracy?
Look, India as a country, as a civilization, has been around for thousands of years. It has survived all kinds of challenges. It has flourished. It has triumphed over great, attacks, tribulations. In the larger sweep of history, when you've dealt with all kinds of problems, threats, challenges, villains, I don't think the current crop of players are those who are going to derail India's history forever, ever, ever. So I remain confident that this time will also pass. That I think we are looking at a situation today where evidence of the decline of the regime is staring us all, all around, and we need now to, anticipate or look forward to the closing moments of this. I think that all indications are that this is what is happening. So I remain extremely hopeful that Indian democracy, Indian culture, Indian civilization, India's diversity, its plurality, India's ability to be a force for good in the world and not simply echo the power politics of the day, all of that will remain, will flourish. and survive.
It was a great conversation, sir. Thanks for spending time with us, and we hope to meet you again in the same floor. And have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you very much.